I want to touch briefly on types of practice because we do one particular type, which is formal sitting practice here in the morning, 45 minutes. There's something to the 45-minute time mark that has been passed down for a lot. Like Bruce has made reference to it, a teacher of mine has made reference to it, many people have. I haven't got really an explanation for it other than internal processes seem to cycle in 45-minute cycles for some reason. So the minimum amount of time that personally I'll practice for is 20 minutes. If I go beyond 20 minutes, deeper processes start to open up. And so if and to be honest with you, I almost never practice for less than 45 minutes at this time because processes do open up faster. So if I practice for longer than 20, which is always the case, I'm going to practice at least 45. Like I won't stop it at 30 or 35 or 40 because I want the process to fully like complete itself. And of course, it's not an exact science, you know, it's not like 45 minutes is some magic number and it's done at that time every time. That's not to say there are days when I'm just done at 40. That's rarer. There are also days that I'm done at an hour or an hour 15. Those are just rarer. Typically, I find that I hit these sort of plateaus around 45 minutes-ish and again around 90 minutes. So you could say if you want to do 20 minutes, do 20 minutes a day rather than like 25 or 30. Best would be 45. As you get more advanced, 90 is a much deeper cleaning of the internal system. It's kind of like, you know, to use an analogy in the kitchen, 20 minutes is like putting your stuff away. It's really good to do, right? Like you got to put your stuff away or else it piles up. And if you go like 5 days without meditation, it's pretty messy in there. 45 minutes might be like putting the stuff away, running the dishwasher, and maybe wiping down the counters. It's like also really good to do. At 90 minutes, you're starting to like reorganize cabinets and get rid of old crap. That's where a lot of the transformation begins to happen. And so I would encourage actually you guys, if you can, at a certain point, start thinking about introducing like a 60 or even a 90-minute practice, even once a week as an extended process. Again, Colton's eyes went wide. I'm like, no need to rush it, of course, but I would think about that, and extended practice is a really good way to just accelerate things. Shinzen talks about this, doing like, what does he call it? He has a name for it. Long duration or strong determination sitting. Yeah, it's basically just push yourself, you know, push yourself at least once, twice a week maybe. Instruction's different for you because you're a maniac. I saw your hand go up.
We have a question though.
You're on restriction.
So what's the restriction now, 90? I was doing 40, I promise I was doing 45 for the past 2 months.
We'll talk later. So the times are 20, 45, 90. You can even go deeper, of course, if you want to. Just be aware of what comes up at that level. It gets more challenging at each level. So like the bosses are harder to beat as you ascend. So 2 hours, 15 minutes, deep practice, you know, it can open up stuff that might take a week to fully resolve though, in some cases. Are you still asking a question?
No,
Okay. Go ahead.
So I know Alex and I were talking about this, like getting to college, like might not have like ideal like quiet place or like just like learning how to manage time and stuff like that. What would be maybe like a more better route to take out a retreat? Would it be like maybe 1 or 2 like hour sessions a week, or like a consistent like 20, maybe 30-minute session every day?
Every day?
Yeah.
Every day for sure. And then if you can once a week, add like an hour, even 90 minutes. You can also, 90 minutes on the stool I know is daunting at first. I was saying to Weston, like I had to like fall out of the stool sideways and lay in a fetal position at first because my legs were so locked up at the end. Now it gets easier. Now I just stand up. But if you want to do it laying down for the long duration, like an hour, 90 minutes, that can be really useful. You've been doing yin breathing as well?
Yeah.
Dantian.
You sent Weston one for his ankle. It's like 10 points maybe.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah, that's an amazing practice. It's really, really good.
Like I feel like I get up from that and I'm like, my body is like air. Like it's
Yeah, good. Awesome.
crazy.
Reggie's quite a teacher. He's a remarkable teacher. So yeah, 10 points practice by Reggie Ray is an amazing laying down practice. Yin breathing by Reggie Ray as well, amazing practice. So that is an option for the long duration sitting, or rather in lying down, long duration meditation. Do it lying down if it's uncomfortable in the stool. You know, on the weekends would be great if you can do 60 or 90 minutes. Maybe 45 for you.
Everyone else going up, Mark going down.
Yeah.
When I did a 3-day solo,
Yeah.
it was like 3 days straight of meditation, and yeah, once you get a few hours deep, it's like kind of wild, but
Yeah.
it gets really psychoactive and like vivid.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was pretty cool though.
Yeah, it could get painful too, in my experience. That's the other type of practice I wanted to introduce as well. So you're right on time. The other option is retreat style practice, either in a group. This isn't quite a meditation retreat, although we do meditate, but a classical meditation retreat is more or less meditating from the time you wake up till you go to bed for anywhere from 5 to 14 to 30 days to even there's like 3-month and year-long retreats that people do. I just met a woman a couple months ago who finished 3 years. It's very impressive, like 3 years of morning till night in a monastery, like quite an accomplishment. That's a lifetime achievement in my book anyway. So retreats come in all shapes and sizes. Mason did, 3 days of, I imagine more or less the same thing. Did you do like intervals of 45?
I just went until I kind of just zoned out or just couldn't go anymore, and then I'd eat or do
Yeah.
a workout, all trying to be really mindful and go back into it.
Yeah.
Just as long as I could each time.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Enjoyed meditating in nature.
Yeah. I wasn't just in the stool there, but for the most part,
Yeah.
80% of the day.
Yeah, I did like sort of that self-directed retreat recently where for me, the volume of practice was still high. I think on most days I averaged maybe 4 to 5 hours, but a lot of my day was spent writing or walking or working out. And that was incredibly effective. And there's something about taking a dedicated retreat period, and anybody can do this on their own if you have space for it, time and space, where you unplug from your phone, the internet, from any sort of input, ideally no input coming in, and basically just practice and do that for 3 days like you did, 2 days, even 1 day. Like this can be deeply transformational. And every time I do it, there's this big shift that happens in my life, like big shift. There was that solo retreat that I did this spring was largely responsible for me transitioning finally out of basketball, my work. So that's a major shift, and it just always seems to happen that way. So I would encourage retreats. It is helpful to do it in groups. So Shinzen Young runs retreats, Reggie Ray runs retreats. There are Vipassana retreats around the world that are actually free. They're 10 days, quite intense, but there are people with far less experience than any of you that have done them, like older people with physical ailments and things like this that make it through. So I think the website URL is like dhamma.org. I can share this with you. So yeah, retreats are a really good idea. Once a year, even twice a year. Advanced, you can do them even quarterly. And the last one is the opposite of retreat practice, really, and all of this is micro practice. Is everybody still familiar with micro practice? Yeah, so micro practice for Andy is basically for a minute, 2 minutes. I wouldn't go much longer than that. Even 3 to 5 minutes is fine, but it's not necessary. Take a very, very, very short meditation 6 to 12 times throughout the day. So I could come out of my room come back here, sit down and just meditate for a minute, and then we get started. And that's like tidying up as you go in the kitchen analogy, like if you're cooking, it's like tidying up the space as you cook rather than cleaning it all up at once. And if you're tidying up as you go, then when you get to your formal sitting practice, like say it's once in the morning or twice morning and evening, then you don't have as much to clean up on the surface and you can penetrate deeper kind of right away. So micro practice is really useful for that as well. It's just like keeping, I don't know, it's like meditation hygiene, you know, keeping the system running